Have you ever wondered if a child's development is more than just a genetic lottery? Well, today we're diving into a really fascinating theory. It suggests there's an intelligent, dynamic blueprint at work, one that's actively constructing a child's mind and body from the raw materials of their DNA. So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle the big puzzle of development itself. Then, we'll get into the two competing forces that guide the whole process. After that, we'll look at the engine that actually turns life experience into growth and explore the incredible way physical senses can transform into complex skills. And finally, we'll see how all this gives us a totally new way to understand childhood. You know, we always hear about nature versus nurture. But what if that's not the whole story? What if our DNA is just the pile of lumber, and we've been completely overlooking the carpenter? Okay, this puzzle analogy is absolutely central to the whole idea. Imagine our DNA, our heredity, is a complete jigsaw puzzle, but all the pieces are still jumbled up in the box. Those pieces can't put themselves together, right? Well, this theory suggests there's an organizing, life-giving energy, what it calls etheric forces, that acts as the intelligent builder. It's the one that takes those genetic puzzle pieces and actually assembles them into a whole person. So, what guides this intelligent builder? Well, the theory says it's not just a single impulse. It's actually a constant, dynamic tension between two opposing forces that are always at play within the child. Think of it like this. You've got a top-down force, which the theory calls birthing down. This is the individual's unique spirit, their consciousness, kind of shaping the physical body from above. But at the exact same time, there's a bottom-up force, or maturing up, and that's all the raw biological potential from our genetics pushing upwards. A child's healthy development is really all about finding the perfect, delicate balance between these two. So how does this builder actually do its work? It's not just one tool. It has a whole toolkit of 4 distinct energies that it uses to shape and maintain the child's physical and, well, energetic form. Let's break down this toolkit, shall we? Now, these aren't literal elements, but they're concepts for different kinds of formative energy. The life ether is all about that core force of being alive. Then you have the chemical ether, which is related to rhythm and how things combine. The light ether governs shape and form, and the warmth ether is about the child's ability to adapt and maintain their inner warmth. Just think of them as 4 fundamental principles the builder uses to construct a healthy human being. These forces power what this model calls the 7 life processes. And this is basically an engine of transformation that digests everything a child experiences. Not just food, but every sight, every sound, every feeling. It's a cycle that takes the world in, transforms it on the inside, and then expresses something totally new. And right in the middle of this whole cycle is the most critical step of all. Sorting. This is the intelligent heart of the process. See, after an experience is taken in and broken down, sorting is what decides where to send all that resulting energy. It's like the central dispatcher, intelligently directing resources to build new skills and new capacities. And this brings us to what is, honestly, the most mind-bending part of this theory, the idea of metamorphosis. This is where basic physical senses don't just get better, they literally transform into completely different, higher-level cognitive skills. It all kicks off at the very beginning, with the most fundamental sense we have, the sense of touch. Just that raw experience of our physical selves making contact with the world around us. You know, every hug, every texture, every little physical contact helps a child develop ownership of their body. It's how they learn, this is me, and that is not me. This creates the most fundamental perception there is, the boundary between self and everything else. And here's the magic. Get this. That physical understanding of oneself transforms into the cognitive ability to make one-to-one connections, the ability to see that this letter corresponds to this sound. It's literally the foundation for reading and counting. Next up, we have the internal sense of life. Now, this isn't about touching something outside of you. This is about that inner feeling of well-being, of wholeness and health inside your own body. This internal sense creates a stable feeling of me-ness that stays consistent over time, and that becomes the very foundation for memory. It also lets a child look out at the world and see other things, like a dog, for example, as a complete whole being, not just a mess of fur and wagging tail. And incredibly, this sense of wholeness then metamorphosizes into its complete opposite, the skill of analysis.
Because you first have to perceive something as a whole, you can then develop the amazing ability to see all the individual parts that make it up.
Next, let's talk about the sense of our own movement. This comes from every single crawl, every step, every jump. It builds a child's confidence that they can move through the world and make things happen. Every single time a child intentionally moves from point A to point B, they are experiencing change in the most direct physical way possible. This physical perception is the absolute root of how they understand the very concept of change. And that physical understanding of change, it metamorphosizes into the mental skill of synthesis. And that's the ability to see how different parts can be rearranged and combined to create something new, which is the very skill we use to build a sentence with grammar or to solve a multi-step math problem. And finally, we have the sense of balance. This is that constant, unconscious work a child is always doing to maintain their physical equilibrium against gravity. It's what teaches them about their own unique, upright place in space. Successfully mastering balance builds a healthy sense of body pride. And because their balance is unique to them, it leads to the perception of difference, that foundational understanding that things can be distinct from one another. And this physical skill wonderfully transforms into the academic ability to compare and contrast. That deep bodily understanding of difference becomes the intellectual tool for analyzing ideas, which is absolutely crucial for subjects like science and literature. So, you see, this isn't just some abstract theory. It actually gives us a really practical lens to understand why kids behave the way they do. It helps us see which of those developmental forces might be taking the lead at any given moment. This theory suggests we can basically see two general tendencies. On one side, you have what are called cosmic children, who are driven more by those bottom-up bodily forces. They are wide open to the world, which can sometimes make their behavior seem a little chaotic or unregulated. On the other side, you have earthly children, who are driven more by those top-down forces of their own consciousness. They can be more in their heads, trying to organize and control their experiences. Now, neither is better or worse, but understanding a child's tendency helps us support what they truly need to find their own balance. And this leaves us with a really powerful final thought. If the foundations of academic skills like analysis and synthesis are truly built through simple, physical experiences like touch, movement, and balance, well, what does that mean for how we approach early education? It suggests that maybe the deepest, most important learning doesn't happen at a desk at all, but out on the playground.